Welcome. Onyx and I are going to show you how to make a wonderful pot herb garden that you can keep on your deck, in your house, or wherever. This is my herb garden. It's already established. You can see. This happens to be chives that came in. It's a perennial, and I'll show you a small one later when I pot it up in a small pot. But right now you can see this is wintered over, only being in our carport, into our garage area. This is basil that I planted from seed. You can see that there's purple basil and there's green. Here's the purple, here's the green. I planted this about 1 month ago from seeds. Also, here's some thyme. It did come back up from last year because we wintered it over. Here's our mint, and we'll talk about the several types of mint. This is a sweet mint and a chocolate mint, and then there's a spearmint coming up here. This is some cilantro I planted from seed. Most people don't do that. One package of seed gives you a lot of product. So I happen to have the space. If you don't have the space, like I said, later on we'll be showing you how to do just a small container. This happens to be oregano. It is fresh this year. It is not one that winters over well. And you can see here in this tiny little pot, there's one little baby coming up. This got planted a little bit later. It's my two types of parsley. I have the curly and I have the flat. However, when doing your cooking, you really can use either. Some people think that the flat has a more mild flavor than the curly. And again, here we are with tomato plant. It's already doing very, very well. And then here is some sage and some dill that I planted from some little cups. There were actually dry cups with seeds already in it. So now, thank you very much. I'm going to show you how to, first of all, I've shown you how to sow your seeds, but also for you with a smaller area or people that just really want that cutting herb garden. I'm going to show you how to do it in small containers that you would get at your local garden center. Walmart's always an excellent place, the Costco, or the Kmart. So I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make your own cooking herb garden. Thanks, and Onyx thanks you too. What you need to remember when you're putting together your soil is that it needs to be no older than 2 years old, and it needs to be sweet soil, which means that usually it's going to be bagged soil that you buy from the garden center, Walmart, Costco, wherever. But it does need to be, and you can see that it has small, it has little pieces in here. It also has protein. I would suggest that you purchase one that does have some type of food in it. Makes it a little bit better. And if you're using earth from the second year, this is second year earth in here, is that you want to lighten it up. You want to make sure that so those little roots can get right in there and feel at home. Now what we're going to do is we're going to raise the level of this. This is from last year. So we're going to raise the level. Thank you. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to lighten it up a little bit. And we're going to plant our plants within here. Make sure that when you're planting multiple things in a single pot, that they have the same watering requirements. Some things you definitely do not have. They need to stay either wetter or drier. One of those, of course, is the cilantro. The cilantro needs overwater very quickly. So we're going to put that into its own container. So for this one, we're going to do, we have basil, 2 colors. We have lemon thyme, not to be confused with the German thyme. And we have chives. Chives happens to be a perennial. It will come back year after year. So frequently I do it in its own pot, just so it can be saved from year to year. Also, we have the rosemary, also a perennial. It can come back year after year. It and the chives do have about the same type of watering. And then we have mint. Mint is definitely a perennial. It's going to go in here. This is what's come back from last year. This happens to be sweet mint. I think that this one is, and it always helps with your mint. There are several different kinds. That also is a sweet mint. There are several types of mint, as I said. There's spearmint, peppermint, chocolate mint, pineapple mint, even though the pineapple and the chocolate don't really taste like chocolate, and pineapple. So what we're going to do is we're going to add to this one a little bit later, putting it in the middle so it can come out. When we have the parsley. So depending upon your location, the thyme can be a perennial, but most of the time it's an annual here in Northern Virginia. So we're going to go ahead and plant up our plants here. You notice that we don't have the earth all the way to the top. I do need some scissors so I can cut this. Most of the time you buy the plants, which are really nice, that you can have these disposable planting. These come from a garden center usually, or you can use seeds and plant it yourself. When you buy in these pots from your garden center, your local Walmart, you want to choose products that have good color. That this is rosemary, it's standing on its own. Of course, with rosemary, you're going to use the stems for certain things, and you're going to use the small leaves. So you want everything to have good color. Like this particular piece of chive, you can see that the color is quite good, not dried out. And we selected these a few days ahead. So if you can't plant right away into your pots, you want to make sure that you keep the base of these containers moist along with the top. So what you want to do is you want to pull open, cut off the plastic. You don't want it to choke your plant. And you want to pull the bottom of this little container off. Not just grab it, don't manhandle it. You want to gently pull it away. You can see these tiny little bitty pieces, and you want that to be free. See here? Right there. You can see you want that to be able to go very quickly into the earth. So we're going to mold that in. We're going to put it about, just about equal, but your cup where your plant was is going to be a little bit higher. You're going to bend that down. This does have some kind of, it's biodegradable. So it's meant to go directly in. You do not have to remove it. If you have a plastic pot that it comes in, yes, you must remove that. But these that are the little potting shells, you do not have to remove. So we're going to gently put this in. This is rosemary. It goes in a warm place, good sun, and also regular. We're also going to put into this one, this is a nice selection right now, and everything we've selected is used in a kitchen. They are easily used in multiple types of recipes, so these are good, and you cut them away, and then you do not pull them out when you're going to use them for your cooking. What you do is you gently cut off your top, and then your plant will stay good for the whole season. So once again, I'm gently pulling this away. Again, we see the small white, and you want that. So here we have two types of basil. We have what's known as the sweet basil. There are many types of basil now. There's Thai basil, there's spicy clove basil, there's all kinds. But these are the ones that generally most people use in their kitchen. Purple basil. It basically tastes the same as your sweet basil. However, it does give a very nice look. And then you'll have basically very beautiful fresh herbs, dried by you, not bought at the grocery store, not in a nasty little container, and they will last you all winter long, and you'll have that fresh herb taste. Some people do bring their herbs in for the winter, and you know that's certainly acceptable if you have the place, just most of us don't have the place to do that. We've only put 3 plants into this large container because these will grow up. When your basil gets about this high, that's when you need to harvest. You could harvest some of this right now. Okay,
So we're done with this one. Production assistant, I need additional earth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to top this off. I'm not going to bury the plant. You can see they will still be, but what I'm doing is topping it off with fresh dirt. We happen to use the Miracle-Gro for vegetables, and it does come with a 6-month feeding. Now, if you want to enhance that a little bit, you may want to use the liquid Miracle-Gro on it about once every couple weeks. Okay. Ta-da! This is an example of a fresh pot. We're going to put all fresh soil in here. Please notice that there are holes in the bottom of the pot. That's for it to drain so that your plants do not get waterlogged, wet feet. We don't like plants with wet feet. So consequently, notice it's not a very tall. We're going to put in here the cilantro. You can see that this container is pretty much almost to the bottom of here. So this has holes in it. There's two things that you need to do with holes. You have to either put it outside so that it doesn't matter if it drips on what it's setting on. So be careful if you're putting it on a wooden deck or something wooden, because over time it will rot it. But if you're putting it on, this happens to be stone, if you're setting it on this, it'll be perfectly fine. The other thing you can do, this pot is kind of an odd size. You might not be able to find a drip tray for it, but you could use 2 small round ones that would just go under your holes, and they would just set like this. And that would keep you from draining into, whatever it's setting on. Obviously, you do not want to put something like this on your kitchen cabinet unless it has a drain pipe. So this one has been cleaned. It was used last year. You want to make sure that it's nice and fresh, that you have taken and rubbed it. It's kind of smooth. So now I'm going to take my new soil, and then I'm going to fill this in about 1 inch. I'm going to spread it across. See right there? And now I'm going to put, this is the parsley. Also, like I said, everything that we've selected pretty much is for your growing kitchen. And it's for normal, you could use your parsley, grind it up, soups, everything. Again, peeling off the bottom, gently. You can see that already the little roots are coming down, little white roots. You want to see those. And we're going to snuggle it in there, as you can see. And this one, because it's not really that deep, we're going to have to position it in so that it's fairly flat. This is we're going to take the biodegradable container that it was started in, and we're going to just fold it down a little bit and slip it right in. This one we're actually putting 3 products in. They all have about the same watering requirements. Like I said, very important. You don't want to commingle things, one that needs a lot of water, one that needs to be dry, because you'll have 2 very unhappy plants and you won't get much harvest from it. Like I said, chives is a perennial. It can be lifted out of your pot if you want. We're going to call this a cutting display pot. But if you want to, you can lift it out at the end of the season. And that's it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to fill in around here, gently, not over coming on the top part. So I want it to be high enough, but I will be filling it in. And that's how you make a herb kitchen garden for the season. Like I said, some can be wintered over. Just know what's a perennial and what's an annual. Thanks so much.